Well, happy Thursday, friends, and welcome to a daily walk where you never have to walk alone. Did you know that's our saying, a daily walk where you never have to walk alone? You say, well, why do you say that? Well, because we're walking together, but more importantly, we're walking with the Lord. A daily walk, you never walk alone. That is actually not only the name of our devotional that we do here Monday through Friday, but did you know that's also the name of our radio broadcast that goes on over some 500 stations around the country? I know, it's surprising to me. I'm always amazed by that. I mean, all over the country, where people are hearing the word of God, and it's such a blessing to be able to take a daily walk and send it around the country. And I remember when we first started, when we first started out a daily walk, people were saying, well, what are you going to call the radio broadcast? The first station we ever went on, it was in New Jersey. And if you're watching from New Jersey, we love you. Take care. Give us a call. But that's a terrible, I don't know if that's a Jersey accent. I apologize on behalf of all my friends in New Jersey. But the point is this. They said, what are you going to name the radio program? I said, I think we're just going to call it A Daily Walk. And it just stuck. And from that moment on, we've been, for the last 15, 16 years, it's been on the radio in different parts of the country. And now we have it as a devotional time, a daily walk. So let's keep walking, shall we? We pick up in Mark chapter 7, looking here at verse 14, as Jesus is now in a season of confrontation with the religious leaders. And they were not happy with what Jesus was doing. He was upsetting and overturning the apple cart, as it were. I mean, he was just, everything that the traditions that they held, the Sabbath way that they kept it, Jesus did it the opposite. And they were really bothered by this. And so Jesus had confronted them, but in chapter 7, verse 14, it says, when he had called the multitude to himself, this is after he had just rebuked the Pharisees openly, he said to them, hear me, everyone, and understand. There is nothing that enters a man from outside which can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are the things that defile a man. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. Now, what is Jesus referencing here? Well, in the previous verses, you may recall that the disciples had not washed their hands ceremonially and traditionally according to the law of the Pharisees. And because they didn't do that, they were considered to be internally and spiritually unclean. And Jesus is saying to everyone, listen to me, hear me on this. Not washing your hands traditionally as the Pharisees prescribe makes you unclean. What makes you unclean is what's inside of you, what comes out of you, not the way you wash your hands. That's how you're able to know. Well, when you think, and Jesus is going to explain it even further, and I'm sure to a lot of people, they were like, oh man, that's wonderful. I don't have to go through that whole traditional washing anymore to be totally clean. No, washing your hands doesn't make you spiritually clean. That's what the Pharisees were teaching. So after Jesus made this statement, which would have been a shock to many, in verse 17, when he had entered the house away from the crowd, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. What does this mean? Verse 18. So he said to them, are you thus without understanding also? Don't you perceive? Listen, do you not perceive that whatever enters a man from outside cannot defile him, because it does not enter his heart, but his stomach, and is eliminated, thus purifying all foods? And he said, what comes out of a man, that defiles a man. From within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lewdness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All of these things come from within and defile a man. In another place, Jesus would say, but to wash, to not wash your hands, that doesn't defile you. You understand what Jesus is saying here? These men were saying you were unclean because you didn't wash this way. No, the uncleanness is already internal. Not washing your hands and taking some food in and that somehow, he said that's eliminated from your body. It goes into your stomach. What you really need to be concerned about and should be a priority is what's coming out of you. And what comes out of you is what's already in your heart. the uncleanness, all this list of things that Jesus mentions. Do you know that all of these things start within the heart? Did you know a man is a thief because he was a thief already in his heart? Did you know an individual is a blasphemer because he was already a blasphemer within his heart? An adulterer because it already started with a thought, and then that thought gave way to an idea, and then it started playing it out, and then he ends up engaging in it. I mean, all of that starts within. So the real cleansing that needs to take place, folks, listen, it has to take place on the inside. We need a transformation and a cleansing on the inside of us. Because the fact is, you can clean up the outside of something, but if you don't change the nature of it, it doesn't change. Let me give you an example. I have a dog, and maybe you do as well, and I love dogs. And our dog has a dog nature. That's what he is. And so you got to get him groomed, you got to comb him out. All right, I'll go on record. He's a golden doodle. There's more doodle than golden, but nonetheless, this dog, you know, he has to get groomed. I had no idea how much these dogs need to be groomed and brushed out and combed and cut, etc. It's a little bit of a high maintenance dog. I love him. But here's the thing. We could bring the groomer over to the house and he can go through the whole process, comes to the house and combs him up and grooms him and does all this. The dog smells fresh. He looks clean. You think, yay, you can now come into the house because you're clean. But I'll tell you what, after that dog gets a bath and gets clean, do you know what often he'll do? He'll go roll in the bushes after we just paid this guy to clean him. And he'll be rolling around and, and then come to the house and put his face on the couch and you think, what are you doing? You were just cleansed. What happened? Do you know what happened? He's a dog. That's his nature. For him to not do that, there would have to be a change of nature, and that's not happening. Folks, listen. For there to be a true cleansing for us, it's not just all the outside. It starts on the inside. When the cleansing takes place on the inside, the work of the Spirit, when my heart is cleansed, when my mind is purified, do you know, then it makes its way to the outside. And Jesus is instructing his disciples, guys, it's not the traditional this, you did that, and you cleanse this outside thing. It's what goes on in the heart. Listen, where's your heart today? What's the state of your heart? And I'll tell you this, you can know it. Whatever coming out of your mouth is an indication of where your heart is. It's like taking the bucket from in your heart and pulling it up, and whatever comes out is a revelation of what's in. And so I say, Lord, would you purify my heart? Let the words of my mouth, the psalmist said, and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight. Cleanse me from the inside out, Lord. Do the work within. Change my nature. And you know something? He can, and he will. He just wants us to partner with him, just to say, Lord, have your way in me. Change me. And he'll do it. If you need some alteration today, just ask the Lord. He'll help you. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow.